What's up, otakus? Is your tour guide here? And yeah, this is just sort of what I normally do on Friday nights. I kind of sit here in my room. I decompress, kind of get ready for the weekend, and um, give you updates on what's going on with me. So I appreciate uh, you watching the video. If you're joining, no one's in the chat right now, but obviously, if people join the chat, I do appreciate um, whoever comes out and hangs out, and yeah, you just talk comics, talk things. Um, so yeah, earlier today, uh, Nam Yan Young and I had a great conversation with Philip Tan, and it was just really cool to chat with an artist of his caliber. I mean, all the conversations this month with all the artists, they're just all so incredibly talented and, you know, um, really diverse group of artists that we featured. I mean, they're all um, members of the AAPI community, but what's important to know is that that umbrella or that community is very large. Um, we had uh, Philippine American, we had ethnic Chinese Filipino, we had um, Japanese American, two Japanese Americans, three Japanese Americans, um, and it's just been really fun to connect with uh, those creative people, and again, just get their backstories, find out, uh, learn more about the projects that they've worked on and they're working on, and just what kind of gives them inspiration, motivation to do what they do and create what they create. So, again, I'm just very pleased with all the conversations we've had. And I think we've got two more scheduled for this month. Mr. Greg LaRoque, who we had on last year, and John Boy Myers, also another person we had on last year. Now, we don't have actual times confirmed for those two. They did kind of verbally commit, um, but we've yet to really uh, pin down a time. So once that gets confirmed, which will probably be over the weekend, we'll try to confirm it at least by the early part of next week. We'll let you know when those dates are, and I'm really looking forward to really reconnecting with Mr. Baroque and reconnecting with John Boy Myers. He was supposed to come to Emerald City Comic Con. That would have been, hey, what's up, Vic? That would have been a real treat to meet him in person, and get some of his artwork, or at least have gotten his signature or something. But hey, Miss So, how you doing? Um, I was just gonna get to my trip to Hawaii. Thank you for asking. So yeah, as you know, like my wife and I took a trip to Hawaii. We went to Oahu and uh, like we stayed in the Hilton Hawaiian Village, which is adjacent to Waikiki. So really central area of Honolulu, sort of the main tourist destination spot. We stayed there, and let me just where's my phone? I'm gonna show you the photos from the trip. Um, And I hope you can kind of see through the phone here. It's I have an album here dedicated. So this is sort of when we arrived. This was sort of the view from our hotel room. It was a really nice. I mean, that looks like a postcard right there, right? But that was actually the view from our room. You see Diamond Head there. Um, that was kind of, we got there right around. Oh, sorry, this was early morning. This was an early morning photo. And then as the morning progressed, right? I'm taking a video here. This is a video. Yeah. Um, it was a really nice hotel room, as you can tell. And the crazy thing is, so what started this whole hotel or trip to Hawaii was we'd gone to San Francisco, and on our way back, it was over Lunar New Year, but on our way back, Alaska Airline had these like Lunar New Year envelopes that they were giving out, these red envelopes that they were giving out to everybody. And we didn't know what was in them, but they were saying, it could range from like free trips to, you know, different like amenities. And so we opened ours up, and there was like a code to go to the website and see. And so we're just kind of like, oh, it's just probably like a discount on a trip somewhere. So we didn't really put a lot of stock in it. But then my wife did look into it, and what it turned out to be was like discounted tickets. And it was, for example, a trip to Hawaii, round trip to Hawaii, was $50 per person. So my wife was like, okay, we're going to, I mean, that kind of just, it uh, was the catalyst to getting this whole thing started. And so we got these like discounted tickets, $50 each to Hawaii, including my young boys. And yeah, that's what kind of got it started. And then, yeah, $50, right? It's like you can't beat that. Um, and then so we have my wife also has we have a Costco membership, but we have the, what do you call it, the business grade, the silver. Is it the silver? Anyway, we have like the silver grade Costco membership where you pay a little bit extra. Um, but that comes with a lot of like little perks here, and I think one of the perks was um, like Costco Travel. She We were registered with Costco Travel, which had a lot of discounts, and that combined with her, she has a Hilton hotel like credit card, or I think she has a credit card, but it's also like travel points and mileage or whatever. Like anyway, I don't know all the logistics of it. She handles all that, but we were able to get this room at a really good rate, like a third of what it normally goes for. And so, and the thing is, we when we first reserved the room, we weren't told whether we would get like a seaside room. We just, like normally, you reserve a room that cheap, you're probably going to get the the room facing like another hotel, right? Uh, but my wife kind of just like wrote an email saying it was our anniversary, when it wasn't our anniversary. But I mean, it felt like an anniversary. But she kind of fibbed and said it was our anniversary, and she requested an ocean view room. and we didn't know until we actually checked in whether they they would fulfill that request or not, and they did. And so, I mean, that just, to start a trip off like that, to walk into your hotel room and just see that view, without really expecting it, was a great start. And then so the first day we got there, we just walked around Waikiki, got some good food. There's this like musubi shop. We went to the musubi shop, got a bunch of musubis. We went to, what's the bakery called there? Let me check out the name here. We went to Helana? Halakalani Bakery. Uh, Amazing bakery. And really, I just kind of followed. My wife planned the whole itinerary, what we're going to do. So and she's good at doing that. So I just went with the went with her plans, and it was so much fun. And it was my first time to Hawaii, my son's first time to Hawaii, because he's only two, or three, and it was my wife's third time to Hawaii, and we had a great time. I think it really helps to go with someone who's either been, either local or been there before and has a good understanding of what they want to do when they go back. And again, my wife planned everything. The second day, we just drove around Oahu. We went and had uh, the famous Hawaiian pancakes, the one with the macadamia nut sauce. Um, we went to the original place that created the macadamia nut pancake, and they have a lot of good kind of like local Asian fusion, kind of Hawaiian culture, or local kind of cuisine, called Boots and Kimo. We went there for kind of like a brunch, and then we went to the North Shore, went to a nice couple, hit a couple of nice beach spots, hit the food trucks, did some shopping, came back. And the last day, we just prepared to go back, got a brunch at a place called, what was it called? Goofy Cafe. Um, Another good, just local cuisine spot, a local brunch spot. And it was great. So a lot of eating, a lot of just uh, enjoying the beauty, the splendor of Hawaii. The weather was great. It was kind of cloudy when we got in, but it got progressively sunnier. Um, and we did see a rainbow. It just kind of like it was this like very short 4 day trip that kind of just, I don't know. I feel like I got to experience Hawaii. It was kind of what it was beyond my expectations for sure. Um, and we like, I know everybody goes there and does like the hula thing and the luau's and all that. That didn't particularly interest me. It's very expensive as well to partake in those kinds of events. Um, I mean, I not that I think I do want to do it at some level, but when you're limited in time and what you can do, it didn't bug me that we didn't do those like quote unquote touristy things. So yeah, that was cool. Yeah, 4 days. I went for 4 days, and it was fun. Yeah. So if you've never been to Hawaii, I really recommend it. It's expensive there though. It's really, I mean, they've got like Hawaiian inflation prices there. kind of was like, all right, well, let's just enjoy ourselves and not think too much about how much we're spending. But it was good. It was good. So yeah, thanks for asking, Miss So. And again, it was a great trip. I had fun. Our whole family had fun, and we're really looking forward to going back as a family. Um, well, not anytime soon, but at some point, we definitely want to go back. Especially when because I think my son's at the age where he may or may not remember this trip. I mean, he'll look at photos and maybe that'll trigger some kind of memory on some level, but he's too young to really have. I mean, he enjoyed himself. He had fun. He loves Hawaii. He's still talking about Hawaii, but we definitely want to go back with him when he's a little older, um, where he can really kind of like experience it, um, and remember, you know, that trip. Because I think to know that there are places on this earth that have that have the privilege of being uh, that beautiful, like the environment being so, you know, uh, almost unbelievable, right? In terms of how scenic it is going to be a treat, I think, for him when he really truly gets to appreciate it at a certain age. So yeah, we'll go back when he's a little bit older, and hopefully, hopefully we can stay in the same room. That would be really amazing. All right, so last time when I did this sort of Friday night chat, I really was focusing on what I was going to do this summer, and as you know, I'm looking for some part time work, um, and I've had a few interviews. Uh, I'm going in for a second interview this weekend. Cross my fingers. I think it's actually um, will be something I'd want to do. I'm not going to go into that until I know for sure, but um, it's so far, it's not one of those positions where it's going to be exhausting. I'm not going to come back from the job like just wanting to sleep or anything like that. It seems pretty mild in terms of exertion, and it pays fairly well. So yeah, I'm crossing my fingers for that position. Hopefully, I get it. It is going to be a little bit of a potential commute for me. Um, it'll all depend on like the parking situation, because it's down in downtown Seattle, and I don't want to drive into downtown, park, or like look for street parking or parking whatever, and just drive in the city, in and out of the city on the weekend, dealing with the weekend traffic. So it may require busing into the city if that is. But again, if they have a parking area for employees, I will probably drive, just because that it's just easier than waiting for a bus every weekend. So we'll see. But anyway, so the goal is to work all summer, through that part time position, and earn everything we earn is going directly into comics. So this is sort of the summer of, we're calling it the summer of 23, but for me on a personal level, it's the summer of comic books. I mean, uh, I won't have with again the reason I'm able to work on the weekends because my wife and my son are going to Japan, and they're going to be in Japan for 3 months. Good for them. They're going to have so much fun and eat so much good food. Like my wife's already saying, like, I'm going to come back heavier. And again, they have all these like fun things planned out. He's even My son's even going to kindergarten there, so he'll be actually going to Japanese school and experiencing that with the other like native kids there. So, but it's not like a long session. The summer sessions are really short, so it'll be a couple of weeks. And again, it's not like he's gonna have to go every day. My wife, if they have like some kind of trip planned, she'll take him out and they'll go on that trip. But they have trips to Nagoya and Sapporo planned, as well as like Disneyland and all the fun stuff Japan has to offer in the summer. So I'm really envious. I wish I could go with them, even spend a couple days there with them. But it's all good. You know, I will get to Japan at some point. Just doesn't have to be this year. But I am looking forward to reuniting with. Hey, Damien, what's up? Thanks for joining. Yeah, I would really recommend going to Japan for anyone who hasn't. Um, it's really, especially I think if you're Asian, it's not as much of a culture shock. I mean, it is a big culture shock, even if you are Asian or Asian American. But I think people who've been exposed to like uh, being in Asia know like it's a lot of people. Uh, it's it works on a different level than the U.S. Like not everybody's not driving. It's really public transportation focused, like city planning. So, um, what I think when Americans who aren't Asian go to Japan, and it's their first time. It's like it's a real. It's hard to wrap your head around what Tokyo is, right? So it comes as a big like culture shock, but at the same time, it's not like it's not bad. It's like it's so like massive and impressive and modern that you're just like wow. You kind of like feel like you're in the future, right? Like it's a place where it feels like yeah, like you're living in an advanced society. Not to say America's not advanced. It's just it's a different level of like the big cities here. They're they're modern, they're advanced, but you don't feel like connected to um, the cities like you are in a place like Tokyo. Tokyo, you're like immersed in it. You're not not in your protective like suburban house or car. You're immersed when you're living there, and you have. I mean, you're just doing a lot of walking and train, subway riding, and just it's incredible. So, good food, really safe. People are friendly. I mean, what more can I say? Like, good music, um, lots of things to do, great parks throughout the city, lots of shopping. Again, food. I think what I would say the the best thing about Japan is the food, and I mean, it ranges in price, but I would say the average restaurant, the meal you can get there is much cheaper than what you can get here. Um, and again, it's just the attention and the quality in what you're served in a restaurant is really like the value is really good. Even at like McDonald's, like um, like there's actually when they train you how to make a Big Mac, right? There's like a actual corporate guide to making a Big Mac, and And here in America, the adherence to that guide is oftentimes the balance is way off. Like you either have too much like Thousand Island sauce, or maybe you get more pickles. I don't know. It's just off, right? And it comes out looking not like what you'd see on the McDonald's television ad, but in Japan, you go to Japan and you order a Big Mac, it's gonna taste, it's gonna look like the guidebook because they put that much attention into it. And so the quality of the McDonald's out there is way better than the quality of the McDonald's here. Hands down, nothing is overcooked. Nothing is like too burnt, or like the fries are perfect. The beef patties are cooked to perfection, and again, everything's like there's no lettuce falling out. It's like everything's designed and put together as it's supposed to be. So really incredible stuff. Yeah, yeah. Like I used to eat McDonald's all the time in Tokyo. I used to eat. I mean, I ate a lot of Japanese food too, but there were days where like I don't want to eat Japanese today, and you kind of miss American food, right? So I would, and McDonald's is cheap there. You can get hamburgers for $1 still in Japan. You can get Big Macs for like $3. I think $3, right? I don't know if it's gone up, but I mean, when I was there, which was 2014, you can get like a meal under $5 easy. You know, um, like the chicken sandwiches and the hamburgers and cheeseburgers, they were all like about $1. So you can get like if you want to spend $5 and just get five sandwiches, you can do that. So I mean, you don't here. It's like I think a Big Mac set costs like $13. So yeah, it was pretty, yeah, like 100 yen burger for a McDonald's burger. So it was really cheap. And then you could go to the convenience store, which is on like everywhere. It's like literally you walk around, you'll hit four or five convenience stores in in a matter of like 4 or 5 minutes of walking. Um, those have like instant noodle. Like they have the hot water there, so you can buy the instant noodle, get it. They have all kinds of like onigiris, which is like rice balls. You can get different varieties of rice balls. Those rice balls are $1. The instant cup or the instant bowl ramens are about $1 to $2. It's just, yeah, it's you can if you're living on a modest budget, Japan has a lot of good cheap restaurant options. Now, obviously, if you want to eat better, those options are there as well. For like $6, $7, you can get a full like bento. Not, I shouldn't say bento. It's like a full rice, fish, or meat dish kind of meal with the soup and salad and all the side dishes. You can get that for like $7. You can get ramen for like $5. I mean, it's really really cheap to enjoy. Yeah, I know probably prices have gone up a little bit since I've lived there, but not to the extent I think what we've seen here in the United States in terms of inflation. And I think it's because the Japanese government really they they control the value of the yen, and I think their fiscal policy is to, you know, they have like negative interest rates, and I mean they do all these things where they try to keep the value of the yen stable, keep inflationary pressure down. But even then, I think but even with those like measures in place, um, the costs of things are just going up, I think, globally. So I know it's a little bit more expensive than when I've was there. Um, and the value of the yen has fallen a little bit, but overall, you could still probably get what I'm referring to, like the 200 and like cup of noodles or the 100 and hamburgers. Those are still probably um, still, you're still able to get it at that price. Might have gone up a little bit, but not by much. Yeah, I think it probably is a little bit. Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe closer to 120, but again, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than, but that's still cheap, right? Like it's not like a. I was shocked when I came here from Japan. I was shocked at that, like because I went to McDonald's here and I was like, wait, you, how much am I paying for a Big Mac? It was kind of like, okay, I'm not eating a McDonald's anymore because when you're eating like Big Macs for like $5 and you come here and it's like double, it's like no, I'm not gonna do that. So kind of haven't eaten McDonald's in a long time. I think Damien asked a question. Is my son bilingual? He is. He is, and his Japanese is much stronger because that's pretty much what my wife and his preschool's immersive Japanese language. So all his teachers, his entire community right now, we have a small knit, really tight knit Japanese community here in Bellevue. It's yeah, his whole kind of world right now revolves around this expat community of Japanese, and it's really good for him. He's thriving in Japanese language now. English, not so much. He had real issues with communicating in English for a while. But of course, I communicated with him in English, and he kind of hears and understands, and will read books in English. And that understanding is now flowing over into him trying to communicate with me in English now. And he's doing a good job. He can actually like ask me questions now in English. He can definitely translate for my wife and me. Like we'll ask him, "Hey, what's that?" in whatever language, and he'll translate both if he knows. Sometimes he asks us, "What's that in English? What's that in Japanese?" But he's grasping that there's two avenues of communication, and that hopefully he'll understand. I mean, he'll learn real quick how to code switch because being in Japan and then being here, it's going to be that it's going to be an experience for him, but I think it's going to be a positive experience. And it's something I think all uh, Asian Americans do at some point. It's like when you're, communicating in English and you're dealing with your American circle or American community of friends, you communicate a certain way. And then when you're culturally, like whether you're back in your mother country and you're communicating in your mother tongue, it's a complete switch. And you literally have to like change the way you think and speak because the speech is completely different, right? You're speaking another language, but it's also all the little, you know, colloquialisms, the idioms, those things just kind of go out the door and you have to switch. And it's a really difficult thing for most people because it was difficult for me because growing up here, my parents just pushed English language. They didn't really, I mean, they spoke Korean at home, but they didn't like formally educate us in Korean language and all that. And we definitely didn't have the outlet to communicate and, do things in Korean. So our Korean was limited. But we're not going to, Leo is not going to have to be forced to choose okay, you have to focus on Japanese or you have to focus on English. We're not going to ask him to choose that. We're going to try to immerse him in both uh, cultures and languages so that he's comfortable and it's not like he's exercising, you know, uh, both areas of language and communication. So he's not ever going to be like forgetting, like we're hoping it dominates throughout his development, that those two forms of communication dominate. Now, living in the United States, he's going to have a disadvantage at learning in Japanese for sure. So that's why we're focused on, especially in this early period, of him really having that foundation of Japanese, because that English will come once he's in school and he's, a teenager and all that. It's gonna eventually kind of like move to the forefront. English is going to be his dominant language, but hopefully, with us being aware and trying to keep that balance, it'll 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 play out that way. That's what we're hoping. But it is a difficult thing, and I think systemically also it's difficult because um, it really, if you're not fluent in English, it doesn't provide you the access to services or just opportunities. So English is very important, but I don't know. I think um, again, it's a disadvantage for people where if English is not your native language, if it's a second language, it just makes it that much harder to, again, just engage with the larger American community, the larger American systems. Um, so I don't want to deprive them of that either. I obviously want him to succeed in school and be able to communicate and do all the things he needs to do to thrive in America, because I think ultimately this will be his home. Um, but I just don't. I want to let him have all those, like have access to both cultures, and not feel like he has to choose one or the other. And I think we as a society need to promote that, um, not force. I think people should have the ability and freedom to speak multiple languages. It's a difficult thing, and it's probably not what we've evolved to be up to this point. But with information technology, like the free flow of communication and culture now, I think if there's a best time to kind of implement multilingualism, it would be the present. Um, so hopefully Leo reflects that. He's sort of the generation that could. And I know there's so many people I know who are bilingual, um, that really have sort of that equal balance. Um, but they mostly live in parts of Asia, and they're privileged to have access to English education, which is why they're so bilingual. Or what I've noticed is the ones who are educated here, when they're young and go back. So, like if you're a diplomat's kid and you're in different countries and you are in that educational system and you pick up that language growing up, when you go back to like your country of origin, you obviously pick up the your mother tongue, but as long as you have some kind of, support and motivation to maintain what you learned earlier, you can have a level of both. It might not be like on a very fluent level, but there's a certain amount of fluency there. All right, good night, Vic. Hey, Young, what's up? I was gonna talk comments, but we're talking we're talking like culture, language. I think it's good to talk about this now. You know, I think the Asian American community um, has changed. I think the pandemic has changed our community um, uh, because of all the sort of anti-Asian, anti-Chinese rhetoric, and the targeting of Asians for just random acts of violence. It was really disturbing, and it wasn't like they were attacking like senior citizens. They were attacking like really vulnerable like people. Um, and we're just talking like your average Americans were doing this, right? They're just verbally assaulting or physically assaulting our community. So it was really unfortunate. Uh, and I know most of the people I know, would never behave in that way. I think part of it has to do with um, just the overall maybe mental health issues that we were going through at that time. It was the country. It was like it's pretty much like a national. We say pandemic. I would say it was a national anxiety attack, right? It was like an anxiety attack on a scale that we've never really experienced. I've never experienced that in my lifetime. I don't know if, like, maybe the Vietnam conflict caused it for that generation. Maybe World War II was had that kind of level of national angst or anxiety. But for me, like, yeah, I mean, on top of the pandemic, to see that happening, it was just like, like I didn't want to go outside or get on a subway or ride a bus. I had to ride a bus because I was working, and you know, um, but I was definitely like aware of my surroundings following that. It's subsided a little now, but I do know um, these attacks are continuing to happen. We just don't see news of it as often as it was, but hopefully, yeah, hopefully we don't continue to see that. All right, Damien, I'll see you later. Texas and Florida are just horrible places. They're horrible places, and um, yeah, I mean, I really don't like want to talk politics, but sometimes you gotta just call out the other party, right? Like they're really targeting um, they're targeting marginalized groups, and um, they're passing legislation. It's really, like we claim to be a country of human, that protects and respects human rights, but some of these policies that are coming out, do not reflect that that value or principle. So it's disappointing to see, and yeah, yeah, Texas and Florida just need to get their acts together. I don't think they ever will. I mean, you know, it's unfortunate. Um, they're great places. Don't get me wrong. It's just like the political. I am completely with you on your political views. So feel free to rant. My channel is for that. I'm not gonna let people, uh, hold. There, no one's gonna hold me hostage on my channel uh, regarding views that um, exclude and hurt communities. So yeah, feel free. um, yeah, let's kind of talk about comics now. So for me, again, the part-time work is going to bring in some cash. I don't have the cash now, but I'm dreaming about it. I'm, like I have the actual kind of like total in mind of what I have access to. So I'm kind of anticipating around $3,000, uh, maybe more, maybe $3,500. But I don't want to. I don't want to like put the ceiling too high and then have my expectations dashed. So I'm gonna roughly say about 3K, and that's a big book. If I decide to pour that into one book, that can be a big book. Um, but I think what I will do, and I talked about it last time on the video, is I'm going to reserve maybe a third of that, 1,000 of it for Rose City Comic Con, and maybe 500 for hunting in my local LCSs for books that I want, and then having about 1,500, I would say, on a big book. So that's the plan, and I already have one of the big books I want kind of picked out. Um, and then we're just gonna kind of play it by ear. So one of the big books I want to pick out, and Agu, if you're watching this at some point, I am gonna reach out to you once I have the cash in my hand, like my first paycheck or whatever. It's probably gonna go to you, buddy, and I'm gonna take you up on your offer to. So hold it for me. Don't sell it. But I'm gonna take you up on your offer and buy your Neil Adams Batman 251. Yep, gonna get that from you. So that's something to look forward to. I'm already happy about that. But it's all contingent upon me getting this work, this job, and I'm pretty confident it'll come through. But at the same time, it's like we have to actually have it happen before I can even continue to even think about that. But again, I think whatever I do, so I'll be doing something and making money, doing something and making money. So it might not be the most ideal thing, but it will be something. And the other option, so again, the $1,500 to spend kind of on a big book or big books can include slabbing. I put off slabbing because I got a bunch of books slabbed already, and it's been a couple months since I think our final book from CGC came back, so haven't submitted anything. I want to say in like 4 to 5, maybe 4 months, right? And sorry, this one I got back. This was the last one. This was in, I think it was in March or February, so it's just been a couple months. But again, having that budget allows me to maybe put in a CDC submission, like a couple of small submissions, maybe one at the early part of summer, one right before my wife gets back. So just kind of like I have two, maybe 3 or 4 book submissions, one economy, one modern, that kind of deal. So I haven't looked through my books in a while, and I haven't decided. So I'm going to kind of go over that with you today. Today is going to be what books we could get slabbed, send to CGC. Now I know Frank Cho is doing a CGC signature event, signing event, and I think it's $80 for a signature, 150 for like a remark, 800 for a comic book face sketch, and $3,000 for a full comic book cover, like body, like where there's action. I don't know why there's that $800 or $3,000 difference, but apparently for like a full body, where there's a full body portrayal. All right, good night. Awesome. Water damage. Thanks for joining me. So hopefully we can I can connect with you at some point. Good night. Um yeah, thanks for tuning in, man. Um so yeah, we're just gonna go over potential submissions. Now I already know like 2 books. These are 2 books I could potentially, one for sure. This is definitely, if there's going to be any submission, this book is going to be in it. And that is my copy of Wolverine, newsstand edition of Wolverine. And as most of you know, like I've already submitted my favorite Jim Lee comic book cover, which is really it's a connecting cover. It's Superman, Batman. You know, you know it, right? It's the one where they're looking across from each other on the top of their skyscrapers. That to me is like the best. Hey, Ago, just talking about you. Lo and behold, you joined. What's up, Agu? Agu, I'm gonna buy your uh, Batman 251. Okay, so hold it for me. When I get my money, I think you said what, 400, right? 400 for your 4 5 of the 251, right? So hold it for me. I'm gonna buy it from you, so just get ready for that. Um, if you want to slab, you can slab as many books as you want, but apparently, if you get, let's say, if you get a good grade, so it can kind of work to and against your benefit. So if you, let's say you submit like 10 books and you get a grader who looks at all 10 books, and he's I don't know, he or she is feeling good that day and they're just giving you good grades and they give you good grades across the board, that there's a potential for that. Um, but I think oftentimes what people get back are a grader, especially if it's a grader who's maybe being extra critical. Though that critical eye apparently, like, the grades are all over the place, and so you may submit books that you think are all like high grade, but that grader, just in the process of like having this big submission come in from all one, won't maybe give you the consistency as a smaller submission might. And I don't know why that is, but apparently, like, if you're concerned, like, sending similar books in from the same era around the same grade is a risk because you get inconsistency and you get, which to me doesn't make sense, but that's apparently what could happen. So they say avoid sending in like too many of one book or too many of like similar books, and just to keep the submissions like in small batches for the best results. And that kind of makes sense. I mean, you're paying a little bit for more time and shipping, but at the same time, you're also saving yourself if you, lose, if the shipment gets lost or there's damage or whatever else could happen between when you submit and get back. You know, I think keeping the submission uh, to a certain size protects against that kind of risk. So yeah, this one definitely is one I want to get slab. This happens to be the second best cover. All right, all right, I'll go. Yeah, and we're gonna go hunting this summer, buddy. Get ready, save some money. You gonna get some money, so we'll go shopping with my money. um, so this one's gonna get slabbed for sure. The other thing I want to get slabbed is this. Now, I actually have a higher grade copy of this. Okay. Um, I picked it up at Emerald City Comic Con. I want to say 3 years ago. It's a higher grade copy than this. But as you know, I went to San Francisco and my parents to visit my parents, and they had brought some books and stuff back from. Uh, anyway, it was just there at my sister's place for some reason. And this is from my original collection. So I was just like, man, I can't believe, because I think this was the first Jim Lee book I purchased and read that made me aware of who he was. I know he had done a bunch of work before this and all that, but I wasn't really reading The Punisher. I wasn't following um what was the, like, Alpha Flight. I wasn't reading the later issues of Alpha Flight. It wasn't until this moment, and he had done books prior to this, which I had read and didn't realize he had done them until much, much later. But it wasn't until this particular book where I said, "Who, Jim Lee? Who is this guy? This guy's amazing." And this is the book that made me fall in love with him. And so, my original copy, it is beautiful. It's not a 9.8 for sure. It's not. It's got like really kind of like minuscule spine ticks. It's got a little bit of you can probably see it, the what is it, the cover's not completely even. What's the word I'm looking for? There's a little bit of a miswrap. That's what I'm looking for. There's a little bit of a miswrap there. And again, a couple of spine ticks along that black part of the miswrap, which is, not that it sticks out. You can't really see. I don't think you'll even be able to see it from that angle, but they're there. But other than that, it's really nice. I mean, I think I read it once. I mean, there's a little bit of a corner issue there, but again, like this is from my original collection from so many years ago. It's the fact that it's still in this high grade. So, I mean, I think, will come back in the nines. Um, at lowest 8.5. At lowest 8.5. So it's something I think anything from my original, all the stuff, most of the like high grade, high value stuff from my original collection has been slabbed already. This is just one of the books that I didn't get until, lots of baseball cards, comic books, things I've collected over the years are just kind of in different places. Some of it's still in South Korea. Some of it's at my sister's. Just it's in different places. But getting this book back brought back a lot of like nostalgia, and yeah, this one's definitely valuable to me. So I think this is the book I would want slabbed, not my better copy. Because I want to preserve this one, you know. Now it's preserved in this top loader, which is nice too. Um, and like if this were to come back at 8.5, I'd still love it, but it wouldn't. Like that whole exercise might feel futile if it would have been just better to keep it raw maybe and just know it's higher than an 8.5 than to actually have it kind of ill substantiated by somebody whose job it is to really nitpick and be critical. So like I think this is an 8.5 in most people's eyes, but in the hands of CGC, it's probably is not going to be that. So that's something to keep in mind. The next book. Now I've been talking about this book since I got it this summer. Agu, you were there when I got this, man. What happened? 5 silver, 5 monitor, and select same service, no press. Thanks, dude. What happened with that submission? Did you get the grades you want? So this is it looks beautiful. There are so the thing is, I don't know if it's a crease. I think it is a crease because I looked at multiple. The thing is that you see like there's this like webbing, right? The white webbing there. So they look like there's like a little crease there, but you can't tell in the design of this book that it's actually a crease. I don't know if you can't probably see it. My camera doesn't want to focus. Let's see if I get it. There we go. There we go. Like you see, so you can see it. There's a little bit of a corner crease, it looks like, but it just looks like webbing to me. And maybe that'll fool the the grader. I don't know. But other than that little issue, And even it's got like spine ticks here and there. There's a little bit of dinge and all that. So it's definitely not like high grade. I would think it's in the, I don't know, I think it could get a 7.5. It definitely looks like it's in the 7 to 7.5 range, but I could also see, again, that critical eye of someone giving it a 6.0 grade, and it's would mainly stem from the black cover, and there is a little bit of a crease here. Looks like there was like a crease and then it got pressed out, so there's just a little bit of color break. It's not a crease, it's just like a color break in the black that came from a crease, a previous crease. So this book was pressed, it was cleaned, it looks great. I just think, there is, with that, some of the creasing there in the black, it could come back a 6, but I'd still be happy with that, right? This and a 6 would still be like good in my view. But we'll see. So I think, um, again, these are modern books. This is a like a silver eight. Oh, like in the it's going to be in the economy tier. So if we do submit here, this is the separation, right? This is one submission. This is a second batch of submissions. So let's see what else now. Uh, we could do 3 Silver Age Spider-Mans here. Um, we could do that because uh, now they both look amazing. They both look amazing. And I think when I bought these, I thought, you know, these are like better grades than I've seen most copies of this era of books. But upon like really just kind of nitpicking and inspecting, uh, this one more than this one. This is actually the better grade, I think. But this is the I think the real amazing, beautiful cover. I love this cover. Just an amazing piece of art. Um, I want to say this is again very similar in grade to this one. Like the issues are almost like very negligible. There are spine ticks. Um, there's some very like you can't tell if it's creasing or webbing or what. It's so light. Um, I don't even think it's a crease. I think it's just the color transition in the artwork. Um, Again, I think this would be like in that 6 to 7 range. Um, this one would be a little lower because there is a crease along this edge here. But in terms of the spine, the spine is cleaner than this book. Just it's a yellow cover. I know it's just gonna like, but it's so clean looking. They did a great job cleaning this book. I think whoever, like cleaning and pressing both these books because they look incredible. Um, Yeah, I don't think that's it. There's something in the bag here that looks to have. It's not the comic book, it's the bag, I think. I just want to make sure. Oh, wait, there's a. Yikes. There's like a. There's a crease in the book. Used to be like a cut or something in the book. That's not good. No, it's just like a deep crease. That's disappointing. Well, yeah, I think I'm going to hold off on submitting these then. Because again, this one has a crease and this one looks to have a pressed, there's like a very sharp kind of crease that was pressed, but it like set that crease. It's not color breaking. I don't know what it is. I have to kind of take out the book and I can feel it. There's just this ridge along the book. But anyway, we're not going to submit that. We'll just keep that as is. Let's see what else. We've got potentially. These are signed books, so I don't necessarily think they need to go anywhere. Here we go. We have this Avengers 181, and this is Bronze Age book, so it would go into the modern tier. Beautiful grade. I mean, looks like a 9. Newsstand as well. Love that cover. So that would be a potential. And then also Avengers 186, John Byrne cover. Love that cover as well. This is also very high grade, in the 9s as well. So those would be, I guess, we have what here? 1, 2, 3, 4 books already in this. What would be the modern tier? I love this George Perez cover, signed. Love it. Love that book. These are again among my sort of top books, and these are like signed books. I'm not gonna get these, submit these. This is now this is a book I could potentially send in and wouldn't mind getting a green label, I guess, which is this signed book here by Zek. Like my other signed books by Jim Lee and Stan, those I don't need to get that slabbed necessarily. And if I do slab it, I think I'll go the CBCS route. But this is a book where I honestly think this could come back like I want to say it looks like a 9.8 to be honest. It's just so, it looks brand new. I mean, I can't, there's no, everything's so negligible. If you could call, you could even call this, it's not a spine tick. It's like so negligible. Corners are sharp. Again, I think if this came back 9.8 in a green label from CGC, I'd be happy. What would give it a green label is it has Mike Zeck written on it, and it would say Mike Zeck written on cover. but it's so undeniably Mike Zex. It's not like you need that validation, the yellow label. But for me, what would really pop is the grade. So this is like kind of like one of those exceptions where you don't care if it comes back a green label. What you're really focused on is the grade of the book. And if again a 9.8 in a green label where you know it's a Mike Zeck signature, that would be, I think, incredible. Now if it came back a 9.6 again, kind of like a wasted. I think the things we're worried about here are if this were to come back like an 8.5, it'd feel like, even though I love this book, it's my personal PC book. Having it slabbed would feel amazing, but like having it come back in 8.5 and validating that it's not, like, you didn't preserve it as well as you should have. It just wouldn't feel good. You know what I mean? Like I kept this book. It was part of my collection. I kept it for this long. Didn't really do anything to. I didn't open it. I didn't read it. Didn't do anything to it over the 20, 30 plus years, right? And so for it to come back in a 9 or something like that, you'd feel, yeah, you know, you feel a little bit validated in terms of your ability to keep that book, and keep it in high grade, right? But if it were to come back again like 8.5 or lower, that just wouldn't feel good. So that's what's keeping me from doing that. In that case, if it's an 8.85, I'd just rather have it like this and convince myself it's in the nines. And that's the way I feel with this one. It's like if it came back a 9.8 in a green label, that would be acceptable. I wouldn't care about the green label at that point. But if it were to come back like a 9.2 in a green label with this, it's kind of like, yeah, well, it wouldn't feel good. It all it hinges on, like a CG. I think if you submit a book, everybody wants it to be of a certain grade, right? They're expecting, you submit a book with an expectation of the grade in mind. Now, sometimes that expectation is maybe not not justified or warranted. You shouldn't send something in that's an obvious like 7 or 7.5 and expect it to come back like a 9, right? Or I guess I can go full spectrum. Don't send in a low grade book and expect it to come in back in a 9. That's just never going to happen. But a lot of these, there's just a gray range of books, right? And as magnificent as it looks to you, it isn't until you kind of put it under a magnifying glass and kind of nitpick all the little minuscule details that you miss just through, you know, the naked eye. Um, that's really kind of, that's the uncertainty, right? Um, so this is something we'll consider. Now, the last book. I honestly think this is a 9.8. This is the definition of, I mean, I think there's maybe one very minuscule, maybe, yeah, one, that's a, maybe like two very minuscule, they're not even spine ticks, they're just kind of like these like little white lines that, I don't know, could have come from just the printing process. I don't think I would even qualify as, I'm being maybe too critical with my, you can't see it. It's a really clean spine. This is like, in my view, when I look at this, because of all the black here's what I'm looking at. There's just nothing. It's black. There's nothing color breaking or anything, and it's so clean. Corners are sharp, vibrant. I mean, it just pops as high grade, as a 9.8. So, and this was a book I was going to submit as part of my last submission, but what held me back was the fear that it wouldn't come back a 9.8. Like, this is a book that if it's not going to come back a 9.8, it's not really worth submitting. I mean, I'll be happy to have it in a 9. It would be a 9.6 for sure in my collection, and it's a great Frank Miller cover. Two of my favorite characters. Beautiful, just a beautiful book right there. So just having it in a slab and even with a 9.6 on there would work. So I am going to submit. So, I mean, we're looking at here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6-book submission, which is, it actually, I could do that. I could do 3 books, and with the Spider-Man, make it like a 1 Spider-Man. Yeah, I can make it 1 Spider-Man, 3 modern, and then another 3 modern. So we'd have 7 books total that we'd be submitting. 3 modern, another 3 modern, and an economy tier submission. And we'll get 7 books out to CGC. So that is the other potential path we could take. So I'm not confirmed to doing that. Again, I'm going to probably make some of these decisions after I actually have cold hard cash in my hand. And once I have cold hard cash in my hand, some of that is going to my good friend Agu. So I will be buying his Batman 251 from him. But that's kind of where my head is at right now. Get that big book first, have some more cash in my hand, and then really make a decision on if we want to submit more books to CGC. Now, the other issue is I've got I think 20 slab books right now, maybe 20 or 21 slab books, and I don't have. I mean, I keep them up. Most of them up here. I keep some of it in my case, my filing cabinet. So, what I do want to point out is, I have more than enough space to hold slabs. Okay, if I were to get 20 more slabs, I have space to store them and keep them. But the issue is, at what point do I, at what cap or limit do I set for slabs? Because I can't slab all my books, right? But at the same time, we're going to continue to get big books in and big raw books in, and things we're going to want to submit and have in a slab. But I feel like I should have a numerical, because if we exceed that and it gets to be okay, well, now you got to make a choice to which ones you want to sell, which ones you want to like move into storage. I would imagine it would never get to that point, but it's like the space is such a big part of the decision. We got to think about it really before you ever get to that point. And so for me, I thought 20 was that number for me. And like I said, just having the 20 of the best books for my collection in the slab would be the goal. And I've done that. But I also have like better books. I mean, these three right here are literally some like my best or my most favorite books in the collection. So it makes sense for me to slab at least these ones. I think this 3-book submission is a definite yes. So we're going to submit the Spider-Man, the Wolverine, the X-Men, and we'll look at Daredevil, and what were the other ones? The John Byrne, the George. We'll look at that. And this is another book I want to get slab, which is Wolverine Newsstand. This is also in the 9s for sure. It was a high grade copy. The only thing holding this back is maybe it's a little dingy. It's not as vibrant. It's showing its age, but there's a little bit of a corner issue here as well. But for the most part, pretty sharp corners, really clean spine. So this is another book. To have it in the 9s would just feel really good. But if it came back lower, would not feel good. So there you have it. All right. What's the next thing on the docket here? So we look at kind of the books that we want to get slabbed, and I think the other thing I wanted to do was, I want to get some Neal Adams books slabbed. Now I'm gonna plug really one of my favorite channels and 2 of my favorite community members. They're local to me as well, which makes me feel a little bit more connected to them because I know I'll run into them down the road at some point. But that's Dave and Rachel at what is it? Vintage Key Collections. What's their channel called again? My apologies for not remembering there. Future Past Vintage Collectibles. Go check them out. Dave and Rachel. Future Past Vintage Collectibles. I love that channel. And they sell high grade, like silver, bronze, copper age books. And I kind of want to. So this is the thing. I can get high grade, like something in the 859 range. I could get a slab, go to a show, have the slab and pay the slab, like pay that great price. Or I could go through a dealer like Dave, who's not paying kind of that. I mean, it's a claimed sale, so there's going to be a established price, but I think it's not going to be what you'd normally pay in terms of a slab in that grade versus a raw in that grade, right? So in that sense, it's going to be a little bit cheaper to get it through Dave and Rachel, but um, and I trust them completely. If they say it's a certain grade, uh, I would trust their eye. Um, so that's what we're looking at though is getting a high grade Neil Adams book, and I want to get a high grade Neil Adams Superman. Maybe a Superman key, not something like this. No way we could afford something like that, but like a lesser key, um, on a cover that we really like connect with. That's not a high price key. It'll still command a strong price, right? But it's not going to be like thousands and thousands of dollars, right? I think we could probably pick up a really high grade copy of like a Bronze Age Superman for, I want to say for a couple $100 maybe raw. And so I think what I'll be doing is I'll be this summer, again, when we have the cash in hand, this summer we're going to tune into one of Dave and Rachel's live auctions, and we're just going to have a set amount kind of in hand, and we're going to look out for the high grade Neil Adams books, especially if they're like Superman books. And they're gonna be Neil Adams books. There's probably a Neil Adams book in every live auction that they've done up to this point. So that's another option, right? To just whatever's, if I see something I like in that auction, and again, it's going to be high grade, and the intent is to get it from them, submit it to CGC, submit the whatever $40, maybe even with the pressing, submit that and get it back in that anticipated grade. Because we paid knowing that it's in high grade. That's kind of like the thing. It's the cost is going to be in the book value of high grade. So if you, again, I trust them, but should it come back lower than that grade, then you're really setting yourself up for a financial loss, which is not what you ever want to do. But so like how high of a grade am I willing to do? I mean, I think a near mint, which is again is going to be what 9.8, right? The near mint. Sorry, 9 was it? Near mint is 9.4 to 9.8. So that's right. Near mint is 9.6. 9.8 is near mint plus. So I want to say 9.6, 9.4 is when you start to get into the near mint minus, right? I'm gonna have to review everything. I will. Okay, that sounds like fun. See ya. What's up, Comic Book G, man? Thanks for joining, man. Yeah, so I was just talking about like yeah, a Neil Adams book, no matter what it is, in a 9 would be amazing. But you're also going to be paying that high price, right? So for me, I think if it's a Neil Bronze Age book, again, when he was doing the Superman, we're talking like late Silver, early Bronze Age Superman. For it to come back at 9 would be incredible. and you're probably paying upwards of 1,000 for that, which I wouldn't want to. It for me, that's too it'd be high of a price. So I'm fine, like you said, a 9 is more than good enough. Even an 8.5, I'd be happy with an 8.5. That to me is high grade. At what would be like a high grade Neil Adams book in my collection. And I already have that. It's not like I need to actually go out and get more. I have where's my book? I want to say it's this book. Sorry for showing my pajamas. No, I don't. That's not the book. It's in that. Well, I'm not gonna get it out, but I already have an 8.5. I love that Supergirl cover. I gotta get that in high grade. Love that cover. I already have an 8.5 Neil Adams Superman book, so I'm kind of just getting greedy with like wanting more. But that's something we could do, and I'm just gonna kind of go. Let's look at some stuff. I got ready. I've got it all ready for you today to do this. This is what's fun about these little Friday night chats. You guys get to look through, kind of really get into my head and how I approach uh, like books on my radar, right? So here we go. Let's just go to eBay. My favorite, our favorite place to look at, get ideas for what to buy next. This is the stuff I've been looking at. Uh, as you can see, I just give you a preview of what I was kind of like looking at. Um, this is so let me show you. This is a Superman 57. This is from 1949, Golden Age. It is a Wayne Boring, classic Wayne Boring cover. Again, 3L, but it's clean. It looks beautiful. Right. I'd love to have this in the collection. It's just gonna cost me $1,700. Now, I still want that book, right? It's just not gonna pay $1,700 for it. So um here's a 1.0. This one doesn't feel as good. But that's $360. Um, what's the other one I was looking at? I think this one was like one I didn't want to get because it was a restored. This is another one I didn't want to get because it's a 2.0, but it has this kid just wrote all over it. That's just horrible right there. He was practicing how to write Superman in cursive. Good for him. Thanks for ruining a plastic book. The guy's like 70 now, or like he's probably like he's let's say he was like 7 in 1949. What would that make him now? That's like 50, 70. Yeah, he'd be in his like 80s, right? Let's see here. All right, wait, no, let's not get sidetracked here. Let's stay focused. So, as you know, I'm Agu. Are you still there? Um, I'm getting Agu's copy of, you know it, right? I'm getting Agu's copy of Batman 2-1. So that is off the table now. I don't have to look at on eBay for Batman 251 ever again because I've got Agu's copy, and I think we'll be satisfied with that when we get that. Um, I'm looking for. This was another thing I was looking at. It's like the big book I could get. This 9/8 X-Men 133. One of my. This is just absolutely one of my favorite covers of all time. Um, I do want this. It doesn't have to be in a 9/8 to be honest, but I do want it. And I know, I think right now, um, some of the higher grade, like if you get this in a 9, you can get it for like maybe $200, something like that, right? Let's take a look at. I mean, this is a 9/8. That's why it's $1,400. But here you get this in a 9, which is more than good enough for me, right? It's like in the 200s, 300s. Yeah, it's 120. You can get a 9.2 for 120. I'd be fine with this. This is something I may even pick up. Yeah, 120. But anyway, we're again distracting ourselves. Oh, nice, nice, dude. You gonna get it graded? I guess not. I think if it's a so like for me, I don't have to get everything graded, right? Um, but if it's a book, like if it's this kind of book, right? Like where it's one of it's one of your favorites because of the artwork, because of the era. Um, this is just a book I'd want if I'm going to have it in my collection. I don't mind having it raw, but I would just want to have it. Same as the books I showed you earlier, right? You just kind of want those um, in the collection as slot books. So, all right, let's get to the task at hand here. We are looking for Neil Adams. Oh, let's see what we can find. Let's even go CGC. See what they're selling for. No way. Someone is selling this book for $3.99 in an 8. You're kidding me. $400. Holy. I'm looking up here right now. Get out of here. And get Gotch list. Oh well, okay. Well, we're not gonna do that because it's requiring. I'm gonna do it on my phone later. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right. Well, wow, they even got a 7.0 signed for three. Oh, it's an auction though. You buy it now. Filter. Here we go. I'm gonna do buy it now filters because we don't want to see auction prices. Nice. 8.5 and a 5 for 529. Ooh. All right, so here we go. We got 6.5 here, 105. That's a little lower than the grade I would want. But this is a square bound book. It's 100 pager. I think the Yuri is in high grade. It's gonna be hard to find that of in the higher grades. I'd be fine with this. This for $64 in a 7.0 on a black cover like this. That is a deal. That is a bargain in my opinion. Um, but again, like this is why I think I want to take. So I already have this exact book in this grade. Um, but you know what I mean. Like if I could get another Neil's book in a 9, it would just be crap along with this book. Let's see what else we got here. Man, I should not have logged on to eBay now because I'm wanting to get half this stuff. Look at this. 8.5 World's Finest. Oh, $75 for that. How can this be $75? Oh, it's got $22 shipping with it, but it's still $100 for that. I don't want to get that. This is going to get this summer. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at this, Lois Lane, Neil Adams. Shout out to silver-haired Bronze Age babe. Another one of our premiums. I'm toss life, Lois. He, haha, great show, Wonder Woman. That is a book. There's another book I target. The Superman Wonder Woman team. There you go. Started because I can now see myself. So that's one thing I'm glad. Uh, obviously the Superman, Neil Adams stuff, the Silver Age, Bronze Age Superman in high grade is not going to break the bank, right? Like that's one comforting thing to see. Um, but having said that, like this is another great book. I just got this book, probably in this similar grade, but I got it for like $4, where this guy is selling it for. So, think what I can do is not buy it in a slab, but just actually buy it raw and look out for high. This is where I think, as I was mentioning it earlier, um, going on to Dave and Rachel's live claim sale and hoping. Now, I've never seen them introduce Neil Adams Superman stuff. I have seen them introduce a lot of Neil Adams stuff. um, but just not like Superman. Um, but you know what I mean? Like if they, for example, if they're selling this Superman 207 and they're saying it's a near mint high grade and they're selling it for, let's say, what it books in terms of what it books at in high grade, I just might do that. Like that. Um, oh, here's another one. This is, man, that's a great price. That is a great price right there. And I love this book. This is exactly the kind of book. And 7.0, yeah, that's an acceptable grade for me. Because I have this in low grade right now, and I love it. Like, see, 8.0, 159. Oh, God, I think I could just see myself. When I have cash in hand, I can just see myself coming on here and just blowing my wad of cash in one go. All right, let's exercise some self control here and not do that. Here's a great Japanese cover, 7.0 for 125. It's another book I wouldn't mind having. It's a modern book though. Oh no, it came out in 79. Out here, Japanese edition. I would love to have that. Wow, 125. Oof. Stop. This is not yeah, helpful exercise. Seeing too much stuff that I want. Another one of my favorite covers. Now I actually have. I can get this book in. I want to say it's in mid grade. It's in the and I can get it for five. So I'd rather get the $5 book. To be honest, I'm great, but when I'm doing the value math in my head, I just know, like, look, as great a book that is as that is, I would rather spend $5 on it than 100. Um, so many great Neil Adams books and covers. Oh, look at this! It's no way. Get out of town. A signed book. You're kidding me. Mm, damn. Could go on here today. Damn you. That's gonna weigh on me. That's gonna haunt my dreams. That's gonna haunt my dreams, man. I should not have looked at that. It's gonna haunt my dreams. All right, so there you have it. Oh, here's another Neil Adams signed book for even less. 6 of those. The grade is lower, but still. Okay. All right. All right. Well, we've decided there is more stuff to buy than I have money for. So as even though I just told you I have $1,500 to spend, 400 which is going to Agu, right? So I've got 1,100. You can see how 1,100 could go rather quickly uh, with the stuff that's available. So we have to be very careful and disciplined here, um, moving forward. Okay, what are some of the other things you could potentially target? Now, as you know, Rose City Comic Con is in September. Thanks, G Man. It's coming up in September, and I so the artists that I want to get books signed by are Simon Bisley, uh, Peach Momoko. What was the other one? Stan Sakai, and who else is coming? There's there's another name that we're targeting. That's just names not coming. Dustin Nguyen's going to be there. Okay. And there's another name, person whose name I'm forgetting. Trying to think of the books I kind of set aside to get signed. Anyway, it'll come to me. So let's take a look at some Stan Sakai books. What do you say? I already know the Stan Sakai book I want to get signed, and it's actually a Peach Momoko cover. Um, and there you go. That's it right there. Wow. This stuff is insane. All right, I mean that's you can get that right there. 3 books for $40. Um, with that sketch cover, it's a 1 in 10 and 1 in 20 covers. Yikes! So much stuff to get. But that would be a one to get right there. Though, unfortunately, and here's another one. Jeez Louise. Look at that cover. Peach, you're amazing. Peach, you're amazing. You ever like kind of like now I've seen Peach Momoko in interviews and she looks like a wonderful, great human being. But like looking at this artwork makes me like I feel the same way about Jim, right? Like I met him once. um but like his artwork, his his artwork, his comic book work, I connect with it at such a high level that it like just kind of brings me joy, and I'm sure all of you feel the same way about the things and the I think it has a lot to do with like this trigger. I was mentioning to you, like when I look at this book here, I put it away, but when I look at the Jim Lee Cap Wolverine Black Widow X-Men 268 cover, um, again, a lot of it's that just that triggering that nostalgia that makes you happy. It floods your brain with the dopamine, right? Just thinking about like seeing the book, having it trigger the nostalgia, and having whatever good emotions, feelings, memories, thoughts that flooded you in that moment where you were reading the book, where you were young, you're reading the book in a place where you didn't have all the like the real world issues or anxieties that you had as a kid, right? To think that kind of high level of connection with the artwork, um, again, just makes you happy, and it's which is why you want to add these pieces and have them in your collection, right? Just to look at and boom, just get that rush of uh, happy brain chemicals. And the thing about Peach's work is I don't have that. There's no nostalgia associated with her, right? Like I learned of her as I got back into comic books, and at first I was like, man, this Peach Momoko is everywhere. Um, I kind of like I didn't really like focus in on what she was doing. I just kind of heard her name and kind of saw like she was doing a lot of like covers here and there. And then I really tuned in to one of her uh, art, like just artwork. I think it was on social media, and I really tuned in. I was like, wait a minute, let me take a look here. And I really looked through her stuff, and I was blown away by what I saw. And I'm telling you, like, I don't know what to. It's kind of like what I mentioned in terms of um, that that nostalgic emotion, right? But it's not nostalgia in this case. It's just pure visual stimulation that's triggering those happy thoughts, right? It's kind of like when I was in Hawaii. Like you're in Hawaii, you see this beautiful ocean, or you see the beautiful like uh, green tropical scenery around you. Just the air quality, the intensity of the sun, just that entire environment is so beautiful. You're just flooded with like emotion and happy thoughts, right? So that's the way I feel about like Peach's work, and it's really hard for that to be triggered in me. Like I can look at a cover and say, "Wow, that's a great cover. That's a beautiful cover." But I feel like where that happens with me is like with Neil's work, with Peach's work. They're just a few artists where I know their style. I know their a lot of the characters that they draw. Like for example, Peach does. I mean, that's a great Usagi Yojimbo. Look how amazing that looks. The sword, the detail in the the clothing there, and then the bamboo in the background. I mean, absolutely amazing. Um, so there are only a handful of artists that I think, um, where I look at something like this and just be like, like your mind is like figuratively blown, right? And Peach is just one of those artists, and that's what I'm saying. Like you see these amazing works where you're just like, please stop. Like at some point you're just like, wow, how can she be so talented, right? And again, it's a level of love. I don't. There's just no other way to describe it. Like when your brain is flooded with this kind of like positive stimulation, and it just, that's what love is, right? Love is, it's really a chemical reaction in your brain that makes you feel a certain way about something or someone. Um, and we equate that emotion with love, but that's literally what it is. And this is the cover I want to get. This is a landscape cover by Peach. For Stan. Now, am I going to pay $9 for this? Hell no. I could probably find this in closer to cover, so like around $5 uh, at my LCS. I've run across this at half price books actually. I could have picked it up for $2, and I'm really hitting myself right now that I didn't, because I believe the grade is pretty high as well. There are across Peach stuff or have a cover. I'm sure people feel the same way about Peach that I do. That Yeah, you just don't leave her stuff. You have to pick it up, right? Now I don't want to say every cover that she's done is a home run or like is on par, um, with that kind of. I would say the majority of stuff she puts out is like that. There are like covers and works that I just think, oh, maybe she rushed it or something. Just that I don't have that connection with. But on something like this, wow, there's just so much thought that went into this. This You could really sense she wanted this to be dynamic. That's incredible. All right, well, enough gushing about Peach, but I think this is the book we really want to get, because again, Stan and Peach are going to be there together, not at the same table, but at the same con. So it's a great opportunity to get this kind of book where they both were, uh, they both had a hand in producing this book, um, to get their signatures on it. Now, I have a couple of the Usagi Peach books, and I'm hoping, I know Peach won't mind signing it, but I'm just hoping, and I'm sure Stan will be very accommodating as well, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't want Stan to feel like he's second fiddle to Peach, especially I'll probably go and get Stan signatures first, just so he doesn't. You wouldn't want to come to him with like Peach's signature there and like have him sign like, oh, like you're just getting it because, yeah, they're both, to me, they're both weighted as legends, um, in the industry. So I don't want to feel that. So I'll definitely get Stan's signatures, target his signatures first for those books. Well, we'll see. I know Peach's line's going to be very long. We'll see. We may have to get Peaches first, but here's another one. Jeez, Peach, stop. There's a white cover. Oh, stop, Peach. What are you doing to me? That's another thing. I could just spend the $1,500 on picking up every Peach Momoko book I can get my hands on, and that would be fun to pick up a bunch of Peach Momoko books like this. Like get it for $14. I could probably get this for like, if I'm really diligent, get it under 10, right? Look how beautiful that cover is. All right, let's Peach stuff. Now that we're on this Peach tangent, let's look at Peach Momoko because I want to. So okay, let me. That's another thing. My wife is bringing back with me. I told her to look for the Peach sketchbook because it's much cheaper in Japan than it sells for here. In fact, I think she'd be able to go to a Japanese, like in Tokyo, where they have huge inventory and catalog of books. And if she go there and ask that specific book, I'm sure they would have three, like multiple copies of a used book that would be in condition because the Japanese tend to take care of their belongings, and if they sell them or give them away, they're usually in very good condition, sold in good condition. So those bookstores also price things based on condition. So again, getting it used at a used bookstore in really good condition, one of Peach's first sketchbooks, is really what I'm targeting. And again, I told my wife, hey, if it's of this price, pick up as many copies as you can. And if it's of this price, like a higher price, just pick up maybe one or two. But we'll see. If she finds those books, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come. But that's definitely, I think, a book that'll be coming back this summer. Um, if my wife takes the time to pick those up for me. All right, so man, Peach Momoko. Let's start with Psylocke. You know I love me some Peach Momoko Psylocke. Yeah, I've so I can get this book for not the Virgin variant. I can get the regular comic. This one. Yeah, it's $4.99. I can get this for $4.99 my LCS. So we'll definitely want to pick this up. That's a great cover right there. That is a beautiful cover. Yeah. All these high shipping costs. Anyway, we'll pick that up at the LCS. This one I already have, but I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind getting this in a 9.8 actually. That's another one we have. This is one we've been wanting for a long time. Oh, this is one of her like earlier Psylocke covers. What is the distinction between Psy and Psylocke? Okay, Psy is a version of Psylocke, like a multi-version of Psylocke in medieval Japan. Okay, that's the same again, the same character but different. Names different, whole concept of character is different. But this is Psylocke, right? The one we're all familiar with. Just look how beautiful this the brain chemicals, man, popping up. I just love everything about this. How much? I'm tempted to pick it up now. This is something I probably want to get signed by her this summer, so we'll pick that up as well. Just it'll be really interesting. So I'm already getting wanting to get my copy of Demon Days, this one, and I think I mentioned I'm also wanting to get the variant cover up because the character design, the this one right here. Now, if this were 300, I'd just get it. I don't even bother getting a book signed. This book signed by her. Although like I know this, it's one in 500 variant. Wow. So how much just for a regular copy? That's really ridiculous. There, the ratio on this. I definitely want this book. It's on my one of my top. Like this one, so it's about $81, about $100 to get raw. It looks like um raw. So this guy's selling it for 700. And he's smoking. Um, see, it must be it looks like it is stuff I am wanting to buy at this point. Um, all right, what's another book I've been wanting to get from Peach? It is. This was shout out to K-pop. She put this on my. Not that it wasn't on my radar. It was on my radar, but I just kind of like um, cherry pop tart. I kind of so what it was is I knew of the book, and wow, it's just that it's so rare. No one's selling it on eBay. That's crazy. All right. Well, also, Cherry Pop Tart's been a book that's been on my radar. It's got this ridiculous price attached to it, and it's super popular because again, it's like um, the artwork is a little bit more risque than what you're normally associate with her work. So I think that's what makes it highly sought after. And plus, it's probably like a rarer book, so it's not for sale anywhere. But that's a book we would want, right? Oh yeah, I definitely like her Spider Gwen stuff. Spider Gwen is this one here, Spider Verse Venom Japanese. This is the Japanese Venom. That is ridiculously cool. How ridiculously cool. Definitely picking that one up. Jeez, that is cool. Um, yeah. So, uh, I think next week, is it next week? No, it's in about 2 weeks. No, no. Yeah, in about 2 weeks. Um, in about 2 weeks, uh, the Spider Verse movie is coming out. The Miles Morales Spider Verse movie is coming out, and they've obviously, when the trailer came out, it was kind of like, wow, this is going to be the comic book movie of this summer, right? Definitely, I think, and it's just an animation, but I think that's what makes it better. Uh, it has a certain look and style um, that, yeah, yeah. Again, animated films are great visual mediums, right? So, um, for me, especially in something with a lot of action and where you don't need much dialogue to move the story along, it's going to be heavily based on uh, action sequences and uh, fast paced, like visual motion. So I think it works really well for comic books. I'm surprised there aren't more animated comic book movies. Like you see that in manga, right? Manga, you have the comic books. You want to see those same comic book characters in an animated, and that's exactly what you get. You get like go from panels to like moving panels, right? But you don't really see that being. I mean, I know DC does animation, and that's cool, right? The DC animated stuff is very cool, but it's like not real movies. It's kind of like direct to DVD, and right, it's just like direct to DVD stuff. I don't think it's even like in the TV markets or anything like that. Like if you want to watch DC animated stuff, you just get it on DVD, like when they announce it. But I think it would make sense to make higher quality animation, kind of like what you're seeing, going to be seeing in the Spider Verse movie, but doing that for more stuff, like just producing more of that content. And I really hope that the success of this movie, which is what the success of the first movie is what led to the sequel. But the success of the sequel, or just if they do three or trilogy or whatever, if maybe it's ongoing, who knows, because it's so popular, that it leads to more of that kind of those kinds of projects. Like I'd love to see that kind of um, production detail in like a Batman movie or a Superman movie, right? It'd just be nice to see that. And it doesn't have to be that Brooklyn street style. What that's what they're going for. This kind of graffiti style art, like feel to the movie, which is I think incredibly, it's genius. But like if you're gonna do Superman and you're gonna set it in like Kansas first and then Metropolis, like you can. There's so many things you can do within the animation medium to set that apart from what we're seeing with the Miles Morales stuff. Like you can literally set a different tone for every character, every comic book content based on whatever original artist or concept you're drawing from. So yeah, I think you know I would be in complete support of watching more of those kinds of films. Um, Hopefully, someone's listening. All right, so here's a nice Peach Momoko Edge of Spider Verse. Look at that nice little spider, simple. That's a cute. That's a nice cover. That's nice. I'd want to get that. This, wow, look at that. Look at that. Wow. That's beautiful too. What we got here? Oh, this is another one. Beautiful. Oh, this is cute. Yeah, I think I wanted to get this when I first saw it. It's just so cute. It's a cute cover. This one is, I think, a facsimile. What is this? That's rather cheap. I thought this was like one of their $10. I get that for 10 Canadian dollars. I thought it was worth a lot more. I guess I'm confusing with the cell phone one. That one's the real pricey one, isn't it? Okay. Well, there's a lot of good Peach stuff. That's, I think, a given. So maybe we should. All right. So I've actually got. Um, I've actually got the books that I'm targeting. Okay, so we're gonna just kind of look at prices and go from there. So thanks for those of you just keep tuning in. See you, G-Man. All right, I'm gonna hop out and go check out CJ and Miss So uh, soon as well. Um, so I have my want list pretty much detailed out, and we'll go over what I'm looking to pick up. So these are just some of the things. If I can pick them all up, that's great. But I think you know, like uh, like it was mentioned, having a list of, just having an idea of what you want to get as money comes in really helps you to just not distract yourself, right, and just be focused. And I have this list, and you know, um, I definitely don't want to stray away from this list, but we're going to go over what some of these books are now. Um, I guess I'll start with some of the ones I am like. We already know we're getting the Neil Adams book, so that's like a book I'm targeting, and it will be at the end of the day. It will be in the collection. At the end of by the end of the summer, it will be in the collection, right? So here's some other books, and I think we mentioned one of them before. Yeah, Bound. You have this in a 9.2. You said 8.5 to 9.2. Well, this is not a big lift. It's kind of warped photo there. I don't know what's going on with that photo. A fine plus maybe. Doesn't look to have any major issue. Just some color breaking spine ticks. Maybe there's a crease somewhere I'm not seeing. But even if, yeah, there's a little one that could be pressed out right there. So overall, it looks decent. I mean, I would say this is like a 7.75, right? In that range. 8.5, 140. I doubt that's an 8.5. That other one looks actually better condition than this. Yeah. See, that other one looks better conditioned than this. I don't know why this guy gets up saying it's 8.5. You gotta really be careful with how people lie on eBay. That's 69 for mid grade. Let's take a look here. This is definitely mid grade. Yeah. No, this is definitely low grade. What are they thinking, man? 69 for low grade? Smoking. Oh, here's a $30 book. That's not. It's a promo comic. Come on. Reprint for $30. What are you smoking? Here we go. This is a beat up copy for 69. Come on, man. What are you smoking? Here's a bundle. That's, wow, a lot of books, a lot of burn. Get out of here. Let's take a look at some of these photos here. What are we looking at? That's actually not bad. The condition on the, right? That's not so bad. That's actually a decent condition on 133. Condition on the 136 as well. Huh. This bundle might be the way to go. It's got a lot of books. No way. Really? That one too? 137 too? $11 book lot. What are the other? We've seen 8 of them. What are the other 3? 1 and 8. They're saying 11 books. I only see. Oh, there's more down here. Oh, nice. The Doom Storm cover. The nice. Decent grade too. All right. I mean, this is $300. That's tempting. That is tempting. All right. So this is one of the books. This is one of the books we hope to have by the end of the summer. I think we will. Some of these prices seem rather reasonable. The other book is one I almost picked up at Emerald City Comic Con. The book I picked up online as well, leading up to Emerald City. And it's this book. And this book we really see quite often online, and just I think there's just a lot of copies available of this, but that doesn't make this desirable. And for example, I am more than willing to pay 139 for this 9.2 copy. More than happy to do that. So that's an option. I mean, just also look out for this slab at the comic book convention. But at the same time, you're not necessarily getting on the slab books. You have to really haggle and negotiate. So if you haggle and negotiate, you'll get maybe a better price. But in terms of what people have it out for, it's oftentimes right around what you'd find on eBay for it. So it isn't always cheaper to find it uh, in the wild. Okay, so that's another book we are targeting. Let's see here. Oh man, there's so many books I'm targeting. It really makes my head spin. Ah, this is another book we're targeting, and we will have before the summer is done. That is Transformers. I just saw a raw newsstand copy of this. I want to say it's gonna be. I think it looked to be in like the fine range. For $65 on Instagram. I saw that today, actually, and that's kind of what I'm looking to pay for it. Actually, like, I'd love to get this in high grade. In fact, an 8.5. This 9.4 is a little too expensive for my blood, but this 8.5 for 120. Here it's 114. Somewhere around 100 or less is kind of what I'm targeting. Perfect. I mean, this like 8.5 here for 109. That more than works. I do want a newsstand copy though. I don't want a direct edition. Um, it doesn't have to be a slab. It can be raw. So it's kind of where I'm at with that. But again, look, there are so many copies of this book available. I am not. I mean, this is a book I'd like to have by this end of the summer, but I can see myself prioritizing other things above it. So we'll see. Also, supplement to this, or I guess complement to this, is G.I. Joe #1. It'd be nice to just pick them both up in a deal. Like, yeah, both of them for under, like both of them for 150 or so, like that. Somewhere in that range would be nice, but we'll see. And again, these books don't have to be like high grade books. I think for me, as long as they're uh, like in the fine range, it should be fine. If it's in the fine range, it should be fine, right? Because it's fine. It's literally fine. Called fine. Okay. Here's another one that I think will definitely be with me by the end of summer. And this one doesn't have to be graded. This one doesn't have to be actually. this is also a fine and a fine. So I know somebody got probably here. Here we go. 70 bucks for the 7.5 um, is perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, I love reading this book. Here's one for 50. Let's take a look. Yeah, I'd be I'd be happy with getting this book. 50 would be great. Very good. Oh, we want it very fun. Oh man, I'm so glad when I got back into comic books. I already had the 141, but I went out and targeted 142, and I picked up my 142. Now it's not the best grade. It's I think came back a what? Came back a 7, right? What did it come back as? I have it up here somewhere. I think it came back a 7, maybe a 7.5. I think it came back a 7. I can look real quick. Um, but you know what I mean? It's like it was a little lower than we were expecting when we submitted it, which is fine. Um, don't have a picture of that slab, oddly enough. Here we go. This is it. Also, it came back at 7.5. Yeah. Um, I think we were wanting it back though higher because when I got it raw, I got it raw for 20 bucks. So I shouldn't complain. I should not complain. 7.5 for 20 bucks. It is what it is. But you know what I mean. My 144 is a 9.4. So again, I just kind of was just targeting it at the LCS. I was like, if it comes up and it's the price we want, we're definitely want to get this book. So I think I had budgeted like somewhere around like $50 to pick it up, and I found it. I think I talked the guy down to 20 bucks, and he sold it. And he even had the grade. This is the great thing about this LCS. He had the grades on the book. Um, And when I looked at it, I was like, this is better than a fine. I think this guy is being overly critical or whatever. I just thought that. I thought it looked like a VF. So I bought it, submitted it, but that guy was spot on. He said it was a fine and it came back in a 7.5. So yeah, again, 25 bucks. Or sorry, 20. It was listed 25, and I got it. I talked him down to 20. Picked it up for 20 bucks, and I think I made out pretty good. So I'm just glad I targeted it at that time. One thing I do wish I had picked up the newsstand copy. Um, yes, I just preferred having the newsstand. Yeah, I just prefer it because of what the newsstand symbol represents. And if I, again, I'm not going to explain that, but all you collectors know why newsstands are more desired. Hey, JR, what's up? Awesome. All right. You guys are just hanging out, having fun. Cool. Um, so this is the other one, X-Men 221, classic Silvestri cover, first appearance of Mr. Sinister. And this is one we want to add for sure. Now, again, I think In terms of grade, if I'm going to be picky about grade, I want this 135 and very like as high a grade as I can get without being like a 90. I'm just talking like 9.2 for 139. It's more than acceptable. Um, some of the other, like the Silvestri, that in a fine is fine. Everything else in a fine is really fine. So I guess the moral of the story is pick it up in fine and get it cheap. That's what I want to do. I want to pick up. I don't want to spend too much on any one given book, um, and have that material cost be about grading rather than the book itself. So for me, like I can pick up more of these books, have them in lower grades. That's fine. I'd rather have like these books, all of these books in my collection at a lower grade than have like one in like superior grade. It's just that's the way I look at it. All right, so continuing on, we've targeted. I think I've shown you 3 books, 4 books, was it? All right, so so many books, so many good books. All right, let's get into some of the big boy books. Okay, we're gonna get into some of the big boy books that we're targeting, and this is definitely, I think, um, also top of mind. What I'm gonna put in after boom. Wow, look at this. Get out of town. Which press sign book? 8.5. How much? You're kidding. You're kidding. Wolfman, Starlin, Perez. No. Get out of town. Oh, what are you doing to me? Right off the bat, you're telling me. Oh, that's very tempting. Here's another book. I think great. Oh, here's a George. No way. This is cheaper. Look at that. It's raw though, but it's cheaper. Conditions a little sketchy, but that is a fake signature if I've ever seen one. Wait, is that a real signature? Fake. What do you guys think? Look at that signature. Okay, that's supposedly George Perez's signature. Let's scoot back up here and we'll do a comparison. Okay. Now, that looks nothing like. What was that? Looks nothing like this. Okay. So, to compare for you, okay? This is Jim Starlin and George Perez's signatures right there. And then this fool is trying to convince us that those are their signatures. And I love how to yeah, I don't know. That could be. It could be. Just doesn't look similar. George's looks nothing like it. I mean, Jim's maybe you can kind of see a rainbow list, but it looks more like a scribble. So I'd caution on the. I would, you know, move on the side of caution and think that's real. Let's see. What got we got? Here's a lot for 114 starting bid. Let's see what we got in here. I wouldn't mind picking up more of these DC Comics Presents, actually. I think that's not a real good value there. All right, so that's another one. I think this one here. This is another one where condition doesn't necessarily concern me. This could be in the mid grade range, um, and be content with that. Here's another one. Another book I want to get. You got super DC comic meeting of Superman and Superboy. That's a cool book right there. All right. Okay, so you've seen some of the stuff I'm targeting. Now, yeah, I think that fake that signature we saw earlier is completely fake. This one, this is completely fake. Because I mean, look at Starling's signature here. It's like what we just saw. So please be careful. There are a lot of, especially signatures on eBay. You gotta really be careful. There are guys like I want to say they're kind of trained artists to like kind of like copy signatures and all that, and you know, to the I guess to the untrained eye, and not that I'm trained to recognize signatures or anything like that, but to like most people that it could be construed as like, yeah, that looks similar, but um, to other people that it just it's blaringly obvious that it's not. So just be careful with that. 265 for these two books here, and then these Judas Contract books. So that's something to consider. I do like all those books. All right, well, we're getting coming to the close, and I'm gonna just finish with kind of what we. I know we started with Neil Adams Superman stuff, but what we're gonna do. There's so many books I want to get. I'm looking now. I'm like seeing first appearance of Elektra. That's a book I want to get. I'm seeing all kinds of good stuff, but yeah, here's one. Here's one I definitely want to get. Um, where is it? I'm really surprised at how cheap this book is. Um, I'm really surprised at how cheap this book is, but it's definitely like it's one we're targeting, definitely. So this is the first appearance and origin of Bizarro, and I don't know about you, but growing up, Bizarro was uh, yeah, obviously Lex Luthor is the main villain, the main Superman villain, right? Um, but for me, I think the next kind of highest ranked villain would be Bizarro. I love I love Bizarro, um, and I love how consistent they've kept him, at least up through the '80s, right? From the it looks like he's introduced in 1959, right? But they kept him uh, rather consistent for 20 some years, and no, like, yeah, 20 some years. Because I was watching Bizarro as a kid, probably like in the early '80s. Um, and that's a great thing about this book. Like this 3-0, 225 first Bizarro, I would, that looks like a pretty decent copy too. A little chipping like that. Really fine, but it's fine. Rays will kill you. No, kryptonite rays kill you, but not harm Bizarro. Nothing can hurt Bizarro. I'm a real Superman. He's right. No power on Earth can conquer that super creature. Love it, love it. Um, yeah, I mean, right? I think um, Bizarro is immune to green kryptonite, but he's. I think his weakness is what? Yellow kryptonite, is it? Or blue kryptonite? I think his weakness is blue kryptonite, right? So, um, let's look that up. Yeah, Bizarro's only weakness is blue kryptonite, created by the same machine to duplicate green kryptonite, though Bizarro acts in what he believes to be the best manner. His bizarre logic often causes him to act for evil. Wow, is that what Bizarro looks like these days? Some kind of like millennial, uh, what is it? What do they call those? Hipsters? It's like some kind of millennial hipster. That's cool. Um, so there you go. I think obviously the higher grade you get in this. Look at this though. This for 144 bucks. It's got some chipping. It's got a crease. I don't know that. I think for me, I draw the line at chipping. If it's chipping, and I don't, in terms of golden age, it's hard to it's hard to not have a book that old degrade. But yeah, I could do five this one, I guess. There's just so many good. You really fall down a rabbit hole with these like older books. There's just so many good. Like, I mean, just trying to pick up Neil Adams books is a daunting feat. Um, But even like, like the first appearance of Bizarro, right? That's a big book, and I think what having it's not obviously there's not a lot of copies available right now on sale, but I think I would be happy with this 5 book copy for $400. That was Danny Langley Losses copy. Danny, come on, man. You're killing us. You're killing us. You're killing us collectors. I think this would be a good price right here. The 3.0. No major creasing. I think that'd be a good price, right? All right, well, I think the last book we're going to look at is. I really, I think I showed it to you early on, and that was. All right, so it's not letting me do that, but I guess we'll end. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning toward in terms of pickups. Uh, Definitely want to pick up the. So I think the $50 I'm reserving myself to just spend on comic book hunts and stuff is really targeting the Jim Lee stuff. Still, we're chipping away at Jim Lee books. I've got over 200 books in my collection at the moment, and we should be able to pick up a lot of like image books for like cheap. So we're going to set aside budget to pick up as many of the Jim Lee books and add more there. 1,500, 400 of that is going to Neil Adams' Batman 251. I'll have $1,100 to pick up as many copies of what I just showed you as I can, targeting X-Men 135, 133. What else are we targeting? We're targeting DC Comics Presents, is it 45? And what was the other big one? Transformers 1. And again, that first Bizarro. So I think with an $1,100 budget, those 5 or 6 books, I think, can be doable. I don't want to, but that's a good goal, I think, to have. And then, of course, Beast from Local Books and all that. So, that's where we are. And I think again, if we have any kind of budget left over, let's say a couple $100 left, is to get that high grade Neil Adams Superman. Something that Neil did in his kind of runs on Superman. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and again, I'm going to continue to give you updates and progress reports on what we pick up. I haven't really picked up anything between now and I think my last haul video, which it's only been like a couple weeks, I think, but still, kind of just waiting for that money to come in June. Uh, I'll so when my wife leaves in June, I will have $400 right off the bat without having done any kind of work or anything, because that's what was allotted as my budget this summer. But as you know, I'm going to Rose City Comic Con, so that 400 was reserved all for that con, and I'm going to continue to keep that 400 in the con budget, so we don't dip into it, and we at least have $400 when we go to the con. But again, I'm all right, guys. Have a nice evening. We'll go over more of this in detail as we get closer, but just know, I've got about 3K to spend, and so hopefully you'll follow me along on this adventure where that money goes. I'll be very transparent on, how much money actually comes in. Again, we have 400 to start the summer off with that I'm trying not to spend, trying to have the part-time money come in, part-time work money this summer come in, and that's what we'll start spending on. So I don't know when that first paycheck will come in. I imagine it'll be sometime in June. I don't know how much it'll be, but I pretty much need to reserve another $400 for Agu's copy of Batman 251. So we've kind of dug ourselves into a little hole. I do have some other comics on hold at some of the LCSs that I'm planning to go and pick up and pay for when money comes in. So there's going to be some recalibration and calculus involved, and I'll just keep you updated on everything. And again, we're targeting 3K. It could be more, or actually more money could come in because I'll be working till September through the con, hopefully. And yeah, just there's a lot of things that could happen between now and then. But if I'm working consistently, we're targeting conservatively, potentially $4,000 to work with this summer. So very excited about that. And thanks for following me on this journey. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.